I'm Alex Jensen with English Y. As the US has linked North Korea with Syria's alleged use of chemical weapons on its own people, South Korea has expressed its concern and support for Washington's stance on Syria. The US has been trying to gather backing for military intervention, with Washington's United Nations envoy accusing Russia of holding the UN Security Council hostage over Syria by blocking a global response. And US Defense Department spokesperson George Little suggested earlier that there's been sharing between North Korea and Syria on any number of fronts. Here in Seoul, Defense Minister Kim Kwan-jin's openly expressed concern over the link. And this week, South Korea's ambassador to Washington also declared support for the US. But it comes as inter-Korean relations continue to improve. Firstly, as a cross-border military hotline on the West Coast came back to life earlier. The line's role is to coordinate travel between the two sides as they work toward reopening the Kaesong Industrial Complex. Seoul has confirmed they successfully made their first test call since restoring the hotline at 10:51 a.m., a slight delay from the original 9 a.m. plan. And it gets better as Pyongyang's approved the hoisting of South Korea's national flag and the playing of its anthem on North Korean soil for the first time. The North has invited South Korean weightlifters to this month's 2013 Asian Cup, an inter-club weightlifting championship. And Seoul's announced the Taegukgi will be raised to the tune of the national anthem if any of this country's representatives win gold medals. South Korean athletes haven't competed in North Korea since 2003 during an inter-Korean basketball and football event. Elsewhere, President Park Geun-hye has been putting forward the case for economic cooperation at the G20 summit in Russia, urging advanced economies to exercise caution in their monetary policies because of their effects on others. While the gathering has seen the president hold bilateral talks on the sidelines of the summit, the meetings also allowed Park to exchange greetings with Japanese Prime Minister Shin-soo Abe for the first time since she took office earlier this year. The two sides are yet to plan an official summit as Seoul-Tokyo ties remain frayed over a number of issues. It comes as the government expanded a ban on Japanese fisheries imports to include all such products from the radiation-hit Fukushima and 7 other adjacent prefectures. The move comes as a result of widespread concern about the safety of Japanese seafood in this country, and despite efforts to calm fears by playing down the dangers of the levels of radiation that have been detected in imported fish so far. The state spy agency has begun an investigation into allegations that minor opposition UPP lawmaker Lee Seok-gi have been involved in a plot against the government following his arrest. The NIS has until next Saturday to compile evidence for their case before he is handed over to prosecutors. The ruling Saenuri parties launched an attempt to expel him from the National Assembly, though the main opposition DPs expressed concern considering the investigation into the case is still in progress. In other news, South Korea and China have reached an agreement on basic guidelines for negotiations on a free trade agreement. The breakthrough comes after 3 days of talks this week, according to Seoul's Trade Ministry. Second phase negotiations are expected before the end of the year. Meanwhile, financial authorities will start demanding that private educational institutes and postnatal care centres issue cash receipts from next month. The move is part of efforts by the Park Geun-hye administration to broaden the government's revenue base, with sources suggesting real estate brokers and funeral services will also be subject to the measure from October 1st. And Korea's MLB hitter Shin-soo reached the 20 home run mark for the 3rd time in his big league career. The Cincinnati Reds center fielder achieved the milestone against the St. Louis Cardinals in a 6-2 victory for the Reds. Chu joined the outfit as part of a 3-team trade last December. You've been watching English Y. Your News Y headlines are coming up.